Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Jank 2.0, the server where we're building the biggest, largest redstone Minecraft vanilla survival game. Most of the words were correct, they were just not right in the right order, but that doesn't matter. In the last episode we built all of this stuff. Level 1 is somewhat complete. We're missing a bit of details, but you know, we've got levels. And today I'm going to be continuing work in the level 1. We're going to be doing a lot of redstone. We're going to do like the food dispensing system, the treasure dispensing system, the different puzzles, all the different things that we need for this level. But first, let me show you some other stuff I've been working on. If we go up here, you can see that I started working on level 2. This used to be just platforms of stone, and it's now turned into platforms of black stone. Yes, it is all very dark. I need to put some light sources in, but we now have all of these really big corridors that are going to be patrolled by ghasts. So I'm going to be working on this level in between clips, and we may actually be able to finish it by the end of this episode. But that's not the focus of this episode. The focus is still level 1. So let's get started on some redstone. I'm going to start off with the redstone for the beacons. Right, we have progress. I've been working on some of the redstone. For some of the redstone, I need to work on the overworld before we can move into the nether. We have a lot of beacons throughout Jank, as you can see. And if a player has the correct item, the beacons will go off at regular intervals. And if players do not have the right items, these beacons will not go off. So let's just have a look at how this works. So up here, we've got the system controlling all of the beacons. So we've got 4 lines here, each dictated by a certain item. So when the player inputs the right item into the game, that item is going to be sorted out, as we've seen previously, into this chest. So that's going to activate this line. Now, 2 things are going to happen. First of all, this is going to send a signal up, and it's going to actually dispense a piece of paper that's labeled, say, beacon 1, and that's how we're going to get that signal to the nether and to the end, because that piece of paper is going to travel into the sorting system, the nether and the end, and trigger very similar systems over there. But then this line also activates over here, and this goes all the way over here where it activates a little timer like so. It will activate this line, which will so wait, I realized I don't want this to just be on. I want this to do that, I guess. Okay, that's not enough. Ah, dear, I have made a boo-boo here. Turns out this is not quite as simple as I thought it was. Wait a second. Okay, yeah. So that works. So that now, it's a slight difference, but basically this doesn't stay triggered for a very long time. So in a second, when this goes again, it should go down for a second. Well, for a few seconds, and it should go up again, so that the beacon's only triggered for a short amount of time. Yeah, okay, and then in a minute it should... no, wait, that's still too slow. Wait. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay, that clock is activating on and off. It's sending a signal down this wall, and this wall eventually leads to this thing here, which is very dark, I know. But the idea is that the wall updates, that sends a signal through this observer, that sends a signal through these rails. And from last season, I remember rails and observers are much friendlier for lag than just redstone lines. That's why we've got these systems here. So this line is going to go all the way over here. You can see there's 4 lines, 1 for each beacon. And eventually it reaches the beacon itself, where we've got a little switch mechanism that eventually turns on and off to activate and deactivate the beacon. So if we wait long enough, in theory, there you go. It actually just worked. That was very quick though. Yeah, okay. More issues. Okay, great. So this has to actually be... So this has to be different. So yeah. We don't want this. Wait, do we though? No, wait. No, we don't need it to do this. We need it to... Yeah, okay. It just needs to be a bit longer signal. I hate redstone. I love redstone, but I hate redstone. You know what I mean? And then we can do something like this. Oh, but we need the signal to be... No, okay, that's fine. We can change the signal here. Right, I think I've got it. That did nothing. Great. Because this changes too quickly for it to register. Yeah. And then, no, and then you need to turn back. Why did it turn back? Okay, on. Off. Okay, that worked. Did I get haste? Why did I not get haste? That was very long. Come on now. That was more than enough time to get haste. Give me haste, give me haste, give me haste, give me haste. Yes, I got haste. Okay. So I've just put a little bit of a delay there, and that seemed to work. So I was going to do the same kind of system for every beacon, both on this level and on all the other levels. So you can go down here and you can see there's more beacons underground. But I've had a revelation that I actually don't need the signal to go all the way down there, because I don't need to necessarily just block the block above the beacon. I just need to block any block that's above the beacon. So if I put a block in front of this beacon up here, that's still going to deactivate this signal. So I can keep this kind of beacon redstone all on one level without having to go all the way down for the other beacons. I think at this point this episode may be dedicated just to the beacons, because this is taking a lot more time than I thought it would. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing other things this episode. And you may have noticed this big tube thing over here. So this is the entry for Jank, and you can see that I've added in a whole load of corridors that join up to all of the levels. This is the corridor that leads to the nether. We've got this big hole here. So this is what leads to the nether levels. So we go whoop, all the way down here. And we've got our entry to the nether. And we can go through this other corridor here. We're now in the nether. And then we reach the entrance to level 1. And as you can see, I've started doing some of the decorations for these levels as well. So that's pretty neat. And we also got a return system. So once players have finished with Jank, they can come over here, press the button, jump up here, and then go through all the corridor again. And there's this water column that takes them all the way to the start. And here we are. And if we go up here, we go back to the lobby. Now these are some very long corridors, and there's two reasons for that. Well, first of all, just practically, if we need players to move around different levels, and Jank is as big as it is, inevitably they're going to have to walk around a lot. But also, one of the advantages of having corridors this big is that it gives the game time to set up. Because if you remember from a few episodes ago, we tested how long it takes to all of the items to go into their proper place, and it's about 5 minutes. So although it's not going to take them 5 minutes to walk all of these corridors, it will slow them down somewhat. But that's not all. I've also been working on level 2, and I have in fact completed level 2. So with this level, we've done all of the corridors with all of the different rooms. And this is a proper maze. I am going to light this up, and I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a load of flames just all the way around here using flint and steel, because it's a bit of added danger and it makes it look a bit cooler. So in several places you got these doors, which will be a bit more signpost when we actually get there, and you go through this door, up these stairs. I know this is all very dark, but then you end up in this big stairs of obsidian that leads you to the upper layer where we've got our maze. So while we still need to do a bit of polish here, obviously it's not decorated, obviously it's very dark, at least the main structure is all in place. We can clearly say that level 2 is at least the structure wise complete. That's kind of an update of all the stuff I've been working on behind the scenes, but it is time now to go back into the overworld and try and get this stupid beacon problem sorted. It's time for a bit more of an update. So we have finished the beacon systems for the overworld. You can see it has become something very chaotic and crazy. We've got one of these like noodle machines at each of the beacons. One here, one over there, and one over there. And these noodle machines are controlling all of the beacons. And I've tested this out and it actually does work. So let's say we add an item into this chest. We will see that the beacons will eventually all turn on. Or at least the beacons for that particular power will all turn on. Fingers crossed this works as expected. I have tested it out, but I am still a bit worried because it is very janky. Oh, beacon turns on. Beacon turns on. Where's all the other beacons? Yeah, beacons. There we go. So they all turned on for a short amount of time. They're not in sync, I understand, but they did all turn on. And you can see that I now have regeneration. I've also got haste, but that's because you can't have regeneration without another power. But it's working. We've got haste. So the beacons only go on for like a very split second, but that's just about enough for it to register. So now if you're standing anywhere in the overworld in Jank, you will get that power when that timer goes off. Yeah, and the redstone is, you know, very noodly. I'm sure there's a better way to do this without having to do all these like extenders and all kinds of things to activate different beacons. But I can't work it out. I can't work out a better way. In the Nether, I've actually started replicating the system over there. So you can see we've got like the lines going downwards, which will be activated when the timers go off. And here are all of our timers with even more noodly redstone. Oh, that's fun. I've just realized that because we activated the beacon in the overworld, that's actually activated the timer in the Nether as well. That's why this line is off when it should actually be on. So this timer is actually going, which is great to see. It shows that the dimensions are actually connected and working in sync, which is great. But anyway, a lot more work to do. Still got a lot to do here in the Nether, and then I still need to do the end, of course. I think this is going to be the only thing we managed to get done today, but if we can get the beacons done, that is a big job done. I have made a bit of progress on the redstone. You can see here we've got the first set of beacons all connected up. It's pretty messy still. I've still not found out a better way to do this. And I've gone ahead, I've done this one as well, and I've started working on the third one. However, I am very quickly running out of time. I am away the next few days, and this episode needs to be done by today. So I think I'm actually going to leave it here, and I'm going to come back to work on this in between episodes. We don't have that much to do, but it takes a bit of time, so I don't want to rush it. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you have, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.